Nope. The more time we talk, the less money we make, right?
Yep. Um, there've been probably a couple weeks since you brought back the escaped spy or the captured spy. There were people went and essentially um, they raided, but because they'd had several people go unconscious and all this other stuff, there was um, some of the people escaped, but they also do know have a much better idea who they're going after. So there has been sort of a hunt as far as those things go. And while this is happening, some things in um, the city on the Saturnine have actually been like kind of winding down a little bit. Over the next few weeks, while you are sort of training and getting better and all that kind of stuff, what kind of things are you doing?
Probably groaning in pain because I took a few injuries in that last mission.
I'm sparring with some thieves in the in one of those makeshift practice rooms under one of the taverns that the Jackdaws are running,
Mm-hmm.
and sort of getting better at hand to hand. Also, getting some pointers on how to talk to nobility and getting a crash course in courtesy.
How not
Calling
to
in
be
some
insufferable.
Yeah, calling in favors for what to do when speaking with your betters.
First of all, stow the resentment of the fact that they're your betters. But screw that guy. That's where you fail.
Yeah, step one, humor them while they think that they're your betters.
And what were other folks doing?
I think Twylla is probably working on just her sneaking skills. She has a tendency to just go up and talk to people, but I think that she realizes that she needs to get better at just kind of hiding in the shadows because she tends to get into trouble when she opens her mouth.
You have occasionally saved the day by opening your mouth.
Yeah, and I think that sparring practice actually after things didn't go well last time, and maybe practicing looking in peepholes before opening doors.
I think Will was like, "Yep, saw how that went. I'm also going to learn how to fight a little bit better."
Yeah, well, there was a point last session where I'm thinking we have dismantled a conspiracy against Her Majesty. We have laid their plans to ruin. We have delivered the conspirators to the chopping block and are heroes of the city, and we're all just going to die in this basement in the epilogue.
Yeah. Like this is like the movie is done, and now we're on episode 1 of the spin-off TV show. We just get our ass. Like, what do they start over at level 1? What the hell?
Oh, you got Metroided. And something hit you, and then all of your things just popped off. Okay, so I know that one of the things I think Samantha was looking into those things that you found, some of the books and such to find out stuff about the Fae, and with those
Yeah.
Feycoins, I think that was also something that Dominik was kind of looking into.
The coins are certainly available if you want to do any divination or comparison or anything like that. I think I'm not being coy about the fact that the three of us have access to 6 of them now, at least among the 3 of us.
Yeah,
I'm not spreading that information out any farther than this circle, but
I bite one to just see if it's made of soft metal.
How does it taste?
Like glitter.
Coiny.
And like a unicorn soul.
Okay, yeah, you've been looking into it, and it actually turns out about a half day's ride from the city. There is uh, a place where it used to be like a temple that, like, long ago, as far as anyone can tell, one of the hard part with a lot of the Fey ruins, and there are some sort of directly outside the city that are actually um, not terribly hard to get to, but you've sort of been in a few of those that are these sort of strange Fey ruins. Um, but there was one that was supposed to have been at some point a site that some of the stories say that Feycoins have been used at.
Wow, we could maybe like plan a picnic out there. Could also just revisit the temple basement and just, talk like, Jenny, Jenny, who can I turn to? I need info about my fake coins.
No, I think Twyla's kind of out of her element with the fake coins. I mean, she'll follow along, but has no idea what the best course of action would be.
I mean, at this point, I'm basically just keeping my eyes open and trying to balance between learning and watching the exits.
Say balancing between flirting and watching the exits?
Learning.
Oh, okay. Like, who are you flirting with? Fairies? That may not go well.
Um, yeah, so that's sort of one of the things that you have looked into and found out about. Beyond that, it's the problem is so much of the stuff that you actually have from I have an NPC page. Yeah, there we go. So much of the stuff that you've actually know about Fae, it's so long ago. So much of it's legends, and so much of it becomes conflicting that there are some people who believe that it wasn't them at all that created the weird um, buildings and ruins you see on the outskirts, even of this town. Other people have kind of different beliefs about all of them. Um, but there are, like, some of these older books are closer to. These kind of things that some of you might go to check with some people about.
Yeah, I think Twyla would probably know some people, like just in the political sphere. That I imagine that she knows some pretty powerful people that might have heard of this kind of thing.
Okay. So, tell me, like, who you're looking for, who's into what kind of stuff.
Um, okay, so I think that I know of one of the older families, but I know that they had gained a lot of power in recent years, which was a little suspicious, but like nothing so much that it was like really out there.
Mm-hmm.
But like I notice these kinds of things, and I think that I know that they associate with some magical beings, some witches, that kind of thing, and so I think that they might be able to help me. I think they owe me a couple of favors. I'm trying to look at the different family names and see if I can find one. They're all bird names, right?
Yeah. I brought up a thing on the name generator. I was trying to find a bird name with a V. It's like vulture. I'm like, no, not vulture. um, yeah, I'm mostly finding. Oh, there's a bird log. Ooh, this is Violeteer. Well, that's pretty.
Sounds exotic.
Yeah.
Vincent the Cockatoo.
Looks some sort of like hummingbirdie. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Where are you guys looking at all this bird stuff?
I literally put bird names with V. Let's see if I got
But I
the
mean,
name.
where did the topic of bird names come up?
Oh, one of the with the whole uh, Tree of Life thing with Project Dark. Um, One of the things they use birds they're the birds that nest in the tree.
Okay. So what is was that something maybe from the session I missed between
Oh,
the first group and this group?
oh,
Is that
I
what
think
we're talking about?
we talked about it. I mean, it's one of the things that's more in the book. We've brought it up a time or two. It's why the Thieves Guild is the Jackdaws. Um, you've usually got like noble families themselves. You can actually be um,
Oh, so just
you,
with the culture, there's a significance to birds that nest.
it's why you call the mercenaries the Hawks. Um, but noble families are actually not necessarily individual families. One of the things that Telberg was trying to do was buy himself into one of the noble families. And essentially, you have all these individual like literal families with money who have bought into almost like these houses of a bunch of families that are the larks or these different sort of bird names.
I see.
So it is one of the common motifs of Project Dark. Uh, yeah, Orisa Violeteer, fairly wealthy and also a complete um, uh, just absolutely goes nuts for anything that is sort of Fey related. Probably the closest thing you're aware of is an expert in um, the nobility, and she has like a collection of stuff that she's gotten. Now, granted, how much of this is real as opposed to the sort of stuff that they have that's just sort of been battered around and talked about for years, and how all those things have changed? No idea, but she's the one who sort of seems the most knowledgeable.
Okay, yeah. I think that Twyla is probably going to go sneak in to the Violeteer's main house. I'm assuming that they are still there and haven't run off.
The volunteers are one of the loyalists.
Okay, yeah. So I think I'm probably going to sneak in and position myself in like one of those really big plush chairs, and when like they walk in, I'll be like, "I've been waiting for you."
Oh, ancestors, save me. Twyla, what are you... Oh, she kind of like slumps into a chair and goes, "You scared the life out of me. What the hell are you... You could knock on the door."
What fun is that? That's boring. I am the exact opposite of boring.
What if one of the guards had caught you?
They wouldn't. I'm that good.
I'm assuming this is not just to have a drink and catch up.
You're very astute, although a drink would not be unappreciated.
Just kind of points to there's like a cabinet near the chair that you're in.
All right, yeah, I pour myself a drink, and then I kind of turn on my heel to her, and I say, I have a couple of questions about, and then I kind of look around, and then whisper in a voice that's like not actually a whisper, Feycoins.
It kind of gives you this look. Feycoins. Uh, what question do you have about Feycoins?
Just general questions. I mean, I just would like to know what you know. One of my friends has expressed an interest, and I told them that I knew somebody who was an expert in this area of expertise.
This is down for a moment. She goes, well, I mean, they're supposed to be magic. I mean, the Feycoins themselves, almost all the ones that are known belong into the hands of the extremely rich and powerful. They say that if you bring enough together, you can make things happen. The whole rhyme, the rhyme she actually rattles off is a slightly different rhyme than the one that you had seen. Um, kind of like the actual Blackbird's rhyme has changed over the centuries. It's a little bit different than the one you'd seen before. Um, she goes, what I've heard about Feycoin was they were essentially a promise. Where was that? And she starts to look, kind of go through some of these books, and she pulls out a thing or two, and she's flipping through trying to find something. And unfortunately, these are not like you don't really have indexes in books at this point in history. Um, and she's kind of flipping through, going, "There are so Feycoins were supposed to have been essentially a promise and a connection to the phase that when they left, whatever drove them out, but it was a way of remaining like a connection to both humans and to the people who live here, which is at least what they've said about it. And as far as I'm aware, over the centuries, various rulers and nobles and even a bandit or two have tried to use the coins for some sort of magic, but I'm not aware of any that have worked. What is your friend? You don't know someone with fake coin.
I think Twyla laughs. Oh, of course not. We all know that that's all just stories, at least thus far. I have never seen any kind of proof that they even exist. But my friend is very insistent.
And she kind of takes a look and she goes, insistent enough that you break in here. What time of the night is it?
3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. That you break in here at 3 o'clock in the morning and wait for me to stumble in.
Well, you're always up. I figured it wouldn't be a long shot.
3 a.m. in the morning is not, I have an idle curiosity for a friend.
Au contraire.
You have fake coin. How does someone get a fake coin?
I don't know. That's why I'm here.
So he sits back and goes, I don't believe you, but I'm very interested.
Well, I can't force you to believe me, but I would always appreciate your help. If you have any books or materials or stories, and Twyla says stories with the jazz hands and everything, that would be of interest to my friend, it would be appreciated.
She kind of waves at the bookshelf and she goes, oh, plenty of stories. They don't always agree with each other, but I can look through and see what I can find.
That would be greatly appreciated, and I think Twyla probably hands her some information. Just send word to here, and I will be in touch.
So the one thing I know that, one thing I've read, you want to use them, you're supposed to go to the places that were more closely associated with the Fae. One of the reasons they don't work in the Church of the Ancestors so well, or halls of power, like they need to be among where the Fae used to be. Maybe still are.
Makes sense. And then I think Twyla maybe kind of leans in close and asks, "Do you know anything else about the connection the Fae have with the beings that still live in this area?"
With the Jennies? And the Jennies is something everyone's kind of aware of. They tend to, there a few of them can be kind of powerful, but most of them tend to be rather small. She's like, I mean, the Jennies seem to have been what stayed in the world. I mean, there's occasionally ghosts and stuff along those lines that remain. You've all kind of done some stuff encountering that one. But there's a point she's like, I'm assuming there's a decent chance those are connected, but I don't know, whatever drove the Fae off or whatever reason they left, these ones are still here. They could be ghosts, but they feel like they're more tied into the world itself.
Twyla nods, finishes her drink, and then exits out a window. She never uses the doors.
All right, Dominik and Samantha, checking in with anybody?
I was muted. I think I might check in with some of my other smiling sisters and see what they know about face stuff.
Anything in particular you're looking for that's maybe a bit different than what we saw?
Maybe some like text or information on like the deals that can be made with Feycoin, and like, are there stories out there of people having done this that aren't just like the folk tales that are bedtime stories? Like more academic accounts of what people got in exchange for Feycoins.
We kind of cut to Maya Dalmore, one of the smiling sisters, sort of laughing and just going, deals with fake coins. Ooh, would you like me to talk about how people defeat the boogeyman too?
If it's related, sure.
Fake, like what? I mean, yes, magic is real, but fake coin. Then there's the rhyme.
I have a client that wants some of this information. I don't care if the sources I get it from believe it's true. The information, or at least the stories, are out there. So I'd like to get my hands on them to fulfill this contract.
Well, take your client for all they're worth. He goes, okay, so there's the poem that everybody knows. That has changed over the centuries. I've heard a couple other different versions, but as far as all I know is that the magic that we use does not work. I mean, it's not the same thing.
Oh man, that is Samantha's Halloween costume last year.
What?
Laura posted a link about eating unicorn souls, and I don't know. That's just I like, I don't know, that picture. That picture is amusing.
Probably something so that the chat actually makes like a bleep or something.
All right. Yeah, well, I hopefully I can make as much as they're willing to pay on this, but they're still interesting stories, and I'd like to get some more of them.
She was the basic, at its most basic level. The power of the Fae, if it still exists, and it seems to have, and she's just kind of like trying, like going through and just like ticking off a bunch of these like really small groups of people that are kind of scattered throughout the country. In these smaller areas, you have not quite worship, but dealings in the Fae, people leaving out saucers of milk, doing various things for harvest. These are much more common kind of out in the middle of the country. Here, where we're more civilized, we have the ancestors, and we have the powers that they bring. There are thoughts that the Fae Aura. Have you ever used magic in a place the Fae?
The like spirits are not the same thing as Fae, right?
No, come. Fae are legends. Spirits are real. Everyone knows.
Well, I mean, I was asking Michael this.
No, I was just saying
okay.
That's the thing is so like as far as I'm concerned, like, people have seen ghosts. People see ghosts on occasion. Jennings are a thing that's kind of well known of. But even with all this stuff, people are like fairies. It's kind of like in Firefly. Like it's like a science fiction novel. It's like, how do you work on a spaceship? And
yeah.
it's Yeah, so as far as most people would go, it's like, yeah, of course spirits are real. We have to deal with them. Fae?
But I just weren't sure, like, were the Jennies actually a form of Fae, or are they
Not as
actually?
far as anyone's aware of. They do know, however,
Okay.
that while there are Jennies that exist, no one knows if it's because the Church of the Ancestors tolerates other religions, but is not like huge on them. And also, uh, Jennies tend to be tied into sort of like these older pagan beliefs. And there's plenty of people that have it in the city, but
All right.
Jennies are not as common.
Well, to answer her question, well, if the Fae aren't real, then I guess I'd have to answer no, wouldn't I?
Probably.
And I'm really tempted to start like finger walking the Fae coin like as she's talking and just seeing how long it takes her to notice.
And she actually goes, well, because even if you don't think Fae are real, it's harnessing magic is just different in places that were supposed to be the Fae. I mean, as far as it might just be the fact that we know how to use this, things were different. We knew that things didn't work the same, and so this became the explanation. I have no idea, but if you're ever in a place, you can feel it. It is a qualitatively different thing. You never went through a Fae phase when you were at the academy, or was there a place you learned, or just an apprenticeship, or was it more of a
I
school?
I think I kind of like the idea of like magic. I mean, in the setting, is it already established that there are schools of magic, or
Nothing's been
but
particularly established. Like big, massive ones. There are probably places you can learn.
I kind of like the idea of it being um, like it's some people have like maybe everyone can learn if they know where to look, but some people are just born with the talent and they're maybe found by. Is Laura rocking out there? What's going on? She's like headbanging.
There's fun
No, that's
stuff
my
happening.
laughter.
Yeah, I'm thinking I was probably like most of the training maybe actually came from the Smiling Sisters.
Yeah, yeah. So you never went through a Fae phase, did you?
I've been in a Fae phase for most of my life. Whether they're real or not, the stories fascinate me. The
Because
idea, the concepts fascinate me.
not far out of town. I mean, it's a little different there. But from what I've been told about people who've been kind of more out and about, that if you're in one of the wilder places, it's you can feel it. And even if you go outside the city and use magic there, it is a different experience. So there's
So,
something there. I don't know if it's actual Fae or what it is, but
and if you don't think that the Fae were real, do you have your own theories or ideas on what could be the source behind those areas?
everything seems to agree that magic used to be more common. I don't know if that has to do with it. I don't know why magic is less common now. You look at any of these small like farming villages. So you don't see the cities so much, but farming villages. Every farmer has like a little spell that doesn't work, but there's enough things that are close to it. I mean, had these traditions had to come from somewhere.
For those in the chat who are actually old enough to remember that commercial.
Learn it by watching you.
These are your Feycoins. These are your Feycoins on drugs. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. All right. Well, thank you for the discussion, sister.
Sort of nods and goes. I suppose we all go through that wanting to know about the Fae at some point.
So if this client does produce the Feycoin, you want to help me with the research, or you want to just laugh it off and give it back?
Because if the client produces a Fae coin, chances are they've got it under lock and key with thousands of guards, and you're working for a queen or a king or a nobility at the very least.
I am so tempted to just pull it out right now.
It's one of those things where, I mean, imagine pulling out a briefcase with $50 million.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that not only doesn't tend to get kept secret. It's what did Hitchcock say about it? I think it was Hitchcock. Basically, $1 million is motive. Like
Yeah.
you don't need anything else. Just drop $1 million and it's motive.
I mean, I feel like I can, because there's only 9 of the Smiling Sisters. Like, we're a pretty small, tight group. So it's not that I can't trust her. It's not my place to start revealing this without the rest of the group knowing.
All right,
But she's being so smug.
and then Will, were you looking into stuff?
Oh, it's tricky because I don't think I've got the connections for it. However, I may be trying to come up with just double checking my skills to see if there's anything that suggests is there anything interesting about the Fae that touches on enginery or medicine?
Not enough with enginery, just because they had building stuff that they still don't quite know how to do. It's one of the ways they can kind of go, this doesn't feel like it was made by humans because we're not seeing the things that we're supposed to see. However, medicine, since so much medicine is taken out of stuff that grows naturally, there is a ton of medical lore that goes along with it. There are quite a few. Like how many do you have in medicine?
1.
Okay. There are quite a few cure sets that were by legend, and even as we'll talk about now, like when you learn about them, that were supposed to have been essentially passed on by the Fae to humanity. There are like especially certain types of medicines and like plants and stuff that have a very hard time growing in cities. These are ones that usually can only be harvested in wilder areas. Those areas that have been kind of more tamed just don't have a tendency to do particularly well with them. So yeah, there's quite a few, and it's one of the things that you're actually going to be able to like when you get together and talk about things. The one that Paul found in his book, when you're going to double check it, the temple that he's sort of discovered some stuff about that's at least has been called a temple is actually kind of right in one of the nearest areas where several of these medicines grow fairly well. Like it's essentially where the supply of these various leaves and roots and other things that have properties that are useful for medicine are from.
Interesting. Corroboration.
So you're saying the Fae are just a liberal hoax?
Everything's a liberal hoax. Well, that's what we call it. You know. Everybody knows they don't exist. It's not a thing. I mean, yeah, sure, they're there. We've all seen them, but we know it's not real.
Summoning eldritch powers to own the libs.
Show all of them. Yeah, do the three of you then get back together?
Yeah. Yeah, we're finding that we get lonely when we spend too much time apart.
It's that whole like trauma bonding, running for our lives
Yeah.
thing.
I almost forgot about that time we almost died together.
I remember it like it was 2 weeks ago in a jail. Oh wait.
Yeah.
Remember that time we broke into a jail? That was stupid. Yeah, let's get back together. Like a month ago, these were passing acquaintances that I'd worked with before, and now they're the only people I trust with my life because we have Feycoin that everyone wants.
I will fill up my drink. I am unaware of the double clicks, either their songs or them as an entity.
I'm convinced it's something Will made up. Marcus Brody, that just sounds like some football player everybody hates.
That's like a name from like a one of those teen movies.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I want to God Marcus Brody.
Yeah.
But it turns out he's really awful, and it's the other guy with a bad name who's the one that they should be with.
Yeah. Team Marcus. Nobody's on Team Marcus. So you said this temple is about a day away from the
Mhm.
city?
Yeah, about a day's ride.
Is it abandoned and overgrown? Are there any caretakers?
Yeah, the place itself is supposed to it's abandoned. It's one of those places that sort of fell in disrepair. People visit it on occasion just because it's an interesting thing, but you're unaware of it being in use. It's one of those
So
things that from the books and stuff you checked out, uh, it hasn't actually been used as a temple in a very, very long time.
so we know for a fact it was actually a temple. It wasn't just some ruins everyone assumed was a temple.
The writings talk about it being a temple at some
Okay.
point. Then other like, different things have sort of moved in and out.
All right. Well, I didn't get very far looking into the Fey stuff. It just A lot of laughter, a lot of teasing. Doesn't seem like many people take it seriously.
I imagine there are some historians out there who have done deep dives on collating information about the Fae, or maybe we just have to be our own historians.
Yeah, from what I've stumbled into in the last week or so, those aren't historians; those are quacks.
Yeah, historians is a strong word for what I ran into, but I mean, the people that I have talked to seem to believe that in order to actually activate these coins, or to learn more at least, we need to go to the places where they've been used, and places where the Fae are said to either have once existed or still exist.
It's certainly it's something of a speculative enterprise. I don't know how much we're actually going to be able to pay the rent from exploring an overgrown temple. On the other hand, we have 6 burning questions that need answering.
And you never know, there could be some underground treasure trove underneath said temple.
And the more I end up waving that coin around, the sooner knives are going to come in the night for them.
So, Michael, if we compare these Feycoin, are they all like identical, or is each one unique?
They are. There's some slight changes and differences in a few of them. Looks like some of them may have been minted at different times, but they're very close. The face on the coins is sometimes it's like slightly different on a few of them. A few of them a fairly big difference, but they are like the quality of them is unreal, and that is consistent through all of them.
Okay. Like, what if the magic of the Feycoin is that they don't exist and we are just imagining them together, the three of us?
They're like psychic. They're like psychic paper. Well, in that case, if there is an object and that object appears extremely valuable to everyone who looks at it, is it not by fiat extremely valuable? I mean, maybe you can't use it for wishes at that point, but it can be exchanged for goods and services.
That's like this setting's equivalent of the hot wing eating YouTube show.
Everyone's also someone just like that's a deep dive. That's a deep dive.
It's like now that we're celebrities in the underworld, we get invited onto like, is it delicious? We're going to try this fake Feycoin.
We found out from your real parents when they gave you up. They thought. Did you see the Idris Elba one?
No.
At one point, he's like, "Oh, whose idea was this?" He points. He goes, "See that guy over there? It's Mike." He just it was like Chris, I think. He goes, "Oh, Chris, can you fight, Chris?" he was suffering.
I saw a meme that was like, my biggest fear in life right now is becoming famous because then I'll be invited onto that show.
There's also, you should also check out, there's one I like called, I haven't checked to see if there's new ones in a while, but it's called like Hot Pepper Gaming. and people play a game and then they write up a review of the video game, and then they eat a hot pepper and they're trying to make it all the way through before they get like milk or something. So like there's one of them. She's talking the new Thief game. She's like, okay, it starts off and it's just, and then that happens. Like the music in the video starts to sort of play, and then the moment she can't talk, like it stops for a moment. Like Matt Mercer has one where I think he starts crying partway through it. It's really kind of fun. I think it like faster and faster as they get towards the end and are trying to like finish the review that they've got of the game.
Did you see the Gordon Ramsay one?
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Like, because even midway into like the hotter ones, he's still critiquing the cooking of the wings themselves. Like, these are a little overdone. These are a little overdone. Well, yeah, but is it hot? Oh yeah, it's hot as fuck. It's a little overcooked.
I just like how he's like my kids have wanted me to come on here. I get a lot of joy when a celebrity's kids ask them to do things like was the original Dumbledore, where his grandchild was like, "If you don't take this part, I won't forgive you." He's like, "Well, I guess I'm taking this part." So you gathering your stuff and heading out?
Yeah, let's go check out this temple.
Good.
Let's do it.
So
One question to Sam: do we take all the coins? Or do we take a subset of the coins?
If they're all pretty much the same, then maybe just a couple, just in case. Maybe there's some kind of critical mass of having too many coins in a Fey place.
Well, if Force for Birth, that sounds entertaining.
Okay.
Well, 2 would be entertaining, but 4 seems numerologically appropriate.
I just want to know you were fine this morning and you came back having given birth. It's like, look, it's very hard to explain.
Yeah, and we're bringing some ranch dressing so we can taste these coins in their home locale.
Is like one person having all of them, or are they split up among you?
I think what I do is I just bring a second coin so that the 3 of us have 4.
Okay. So yeah, it's how do you travel? I don't know if you end up like taking horses. Do you walk? Do you rent a
Rent a horse.
carriage?
You could rent a horse or a wagon.
Let's go horseback riding. That sounds like fun.
If there is loot, it's nice to be able to put stuff into the bags. Yeah, so you end up grabbing like some horses, and it's actually a fairly pleasant ride. As you kind of get out into the hills, you're going like kind of further across the countryside, and the place where it's at, there is a small village, and the village itself is. As you sort of approach, this is one where they're far enough away that they can't necessarily count on things that are manufactured. I mean, granted, what we have here is in the main city. I think it's a little more, if I recall, a little more like a little Victorian era kind of stuff, but not as much comes out here. It's like a little bit fantasy, a little bit Victorian, a little steampunk. But a lot of the stuff out here is the stuff that they can make and repair on site. So you're seeing less sort of larger manufactured goods that you might have in the Saturnine, but more that the kind of stuff that you see. I mean, well, it's not quite Amish stuff today, but it is definitely. It feels like stepping back in time just a little bit. Yeah, you have you sort of a small village. You've got farmers and such out working. You've got people kind of going about their day. There is sort of a small inn.
Then when you say a day's ride, you don't mean 24 hours. You mean like 6 to 8 hours, right?
Yeah, like basically, it's one of those things where, yeah, you're not going to be 24 hours, but it's going to be like if you start in the morning and get there towards sunset.
Okay, so maybe staying at the inn and getting there in the morning.
That sounds reasonable. Maybe they'll have scones.
I have been craving scones for 2 or 3 weeks now.
I will spread some coin around downstairs and just try and join in with the carousing. I imagine we're out of town. We're out of town strangers, which is probably laying a current of ice on the affair. But I'm seeing what of that I can thaw.
Actually, as you head in, the inn seems fairly well populated. There seems to be a lot of people there. Bartenders is kind of pouring some beers and stuff for people, getting those, and just sort of looks over and goes, "Ah, how can I help you?"
Oh, just stopping through on the road. Give me your local.
All right. Starts kind of talking about the place this one was built, or the built, build beer, the place it was brewed. Yeah, kind of goes through and goes hands it over. Is for the rest of you. You here for the festival?
Not yet. Why don't
we've
you tell
got,
us about it?
The Eye of Summer. We get people kind of coming in from all over around this time of year. There's a lot of traditional little pilgrimages happen around here. Like you kind of look around, you see that there's quite a few people in here smiling and drinking and laughing. And
Is the pilgrimages to this village, or is this village a stop along the way to the pilgrimage?
there's a lot of old places here in this area. A lot of some of the ways that maybe aren't as popular up in the. Are you dressed like you be from the Saturnine?
Ish. Yeah, I think we're in casual riding clothes, but they probably still have a little bit of that stink.
Yeah, best commit. I want scones. And then do you have Paul? Since you are sort of some like was it Paul was kind of nobility?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
minor nobility.
Yeah, the regal. Are you dressed?
Was
Are you dressed regally?
not regally, but probably still my casual clothes are probably still pretty fancy casual, like Gap casual wear.
Yeah, and just goes not quite what you find up in Saturnine, I'm guessing, from the
Okay.
big city.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people down here who have kept the beliefs and often brought them in with the ancestors as well. It's more for most people. It's simply a party. It's a reason to come in from some of the other towns that are near here, have some drinks, meet new friends, uh, and get
Okay, so
away.
we've stumbled across the Cancun during spring break of this session of this setting.
It's closer to a spring corn festival or a sweet corn festival.
Okay.
At least, yeah. I still haven't seen Midsummer. I'm gonna see Midsummer at some point, but the person who recommended it to me, I had to stop him because he also like two movies I thought were good but didn't blow me away. Babadook and what would the Midsummer's first that guy's first film? Heredity,
Mm.
which I like, but he had built up like it was the scariest thing I would ever see, and both of them I went in going, all right, this is gonna be all right. This is just fine. Like I enjoyed it, but it was such a letdown. So I'm like, I'm gonna see Midsummer at some point. I have not yet.
I haven't seen it yet.
I mean, I'm presuming I haven't seen Midsummer yet, but I'm from the descriptions and everything. I'm guessing that it's basically this generation's Wicker Man.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Isn't Will Chidi from the Good Place in it?
Oh, interesting.
I love The Good Place.
God,
That
that last episode demolished me.
Wow.
I
It was
haven't
a
seen the last
rag.
episode. I haven't seen the last season yet.
Okay, it's
it's
worth
good.
watching.
It's so good.
I've got some friends who are currently doing a weekly watch through of it.
There is also the Good Place podcast, which If you're going to watch that last season, I might listen to the podcast while you go because it's really good. Yeah, it was. That thing ended just so well. Yeah, you do have this kind of little summer festival going on. There's people drinking, and you see new friends being made, kind of off in corners where some people who've been drinking a little bit decided to sequester themselves and make out kind of away from other people. Which, especially these small towns like this, it's an opportunity to meet people who are not from your very tiny town. Which is, especially for the younger ones, it's in some of these places. It is a good way, essentially, for people to find spouses that aren't people they grew up with. So there's often people here going, "Oh, I'm gonna." It's a weird thought, just trying to find someone. This weekend, I'm gonna find someone to marry.
Hey, you're not a cousin that's in the single digits of removal.
Hey, listen,
How
there
you doing?
there are a whole bunch of single digits. Listen, by like 7, 8, or 9, it don't count anymore. I mean, I think I'm eighth related to the queen.
Yeah, but Mama, she's only my 11th cousin.
That doesn't even count anymore. That's like you pissed in one part of the lake. I can drink out of the other part. It's fine.
How'd you know what she's into, Mama?
All right. So yeah, they've got this.
Is that why they call her Yellow Mary?
Your family reunions are different than mine.
It's not this kind of festival, sir.
You do manage to find. Are you looking for like 1 room, 2 rooms, 3 rooms?
We did all right in one room before. Everyone kept their hand. Well, we didn't stay in it.
We didn't stay in the room.
Yeah. Yeah, they do get you like.
We just ditched the inn.
They do
And went
get you a
down to
room.
the basement.
There are not a lot of rooms left, but there are some.
Well, you know when we were like skulking around in the sewers, you were taking our cards for the inspectors to track us.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one time that we leave just like a wagon full of luggage, like no one gives a shit. and that is why I don't monogram my clothing. Yeah, and I would imagine that finding 3 rooms might be hard anyway, if there's really this many people in the village.
I'm
Yeah,
certainly willing to bunk up if we need to.
we'll take what we can get.
Yeah, you get yourself caught up, a place to crash, and yeah, you've got, like I said, this village. It's relatively small, but it's actually got like some almost like fairground stuff that's set aside. That there are like a variety, and some of the stuff they have on them are actually like fairly close to what you would see. I mean, a little bit of Fey and the artwork and stuff you've seen, and some of the things all 3 of you have seen, some of the books that are with them that they have kind of got set up throughout. But for most people, it seems to be drinking, um, hanging out with people, and more drinking. Um, the kind of stuffy aspects of the ancestor religion, you're not really seeing any of that. So there's enough of this. Most of this is probably tradition at this point, as opposed to a religious festival. What do you do?
I'm trying to ingratiate myself enough with the carousers and the drinkers that I start getting hints about where the good parties are at.
Okay. What is your? I'm trying to remember. What are the ones in here for like carousing and partying?
I've got 2 dots in culture. I've got 2 dots in culture and 2 dots in fellowship.
Okay. Fellowship would be good for that. Yeah, there's someone you meet, Feldspar, who's the kind of person that like kind of flits from person to person and is incredibly gregarious and talkative. And at one point, and just kind of takes a look at you, fairly drunk, and goes, "You're from East? No. River? No. I go to all these villages. I don't think I've met you before.
If I can, do I have any really? I'm not. I won't. I won't. Arc. Out of character.
Take your time. Use your words.
I split the difference. Like I name a village that's like halfway back to the Saturnine. Maybe pull
Right.
some details together from people the people I've been interacting with.
He goes, Brunswick. I do not go to Brunswick. I don't know if I've met people from Brunswick here before. Is this your first time at the Eye of Summer Festival?
It's a little out of it's a little out of my range, but I heard some last year. Last year had some pretty wild stories about what was coming through. So I thought I'd check it out for myself.
It kind of smells like you heard about the sacrifice.
Haven't heard nearly enough. And I give him my biggest, tell me more. I'm hanging on your, I'm an out of town yokel who can be spun a good story.
When the
They
kids,
sell tickets. They sell tickets to that, or what?
when the kids and the old people have gone to sleep, those of us younger, and he's probably in his early 20s,
Mm-hmm.
go to the sacrifice. We, red in our hands, or white, they mostly have red, make our way out the old fairy circle. There we sacrifice wine well into the early parts of the morning.
Some for the spirits of the forest, and the rest for us, right?
Not for the spirits of the forest. The spirits of the forest will get what we vomit up later in the evening. Um, it's a good place to make friends.
Pour out one for my dead Jennies.
I'm not dead.
Well, I'll make sure to keep some room in my belly then.
Remain sober enough or get sober enough so that you can get a little worse off this evening. And he kind of tells you with the where the clearing is at.
Mm-hmm. Do we happen to know where the temple is, like firmly, or just what kind of area it's in?
You know the general area because like you include small maps, and when you kind of let uh, Samantha know, it's probably about quarter mile or so from where the sacrifice is supposed to take place. Um, there's supposed to be like a number of sort of old fey ruins and stuff in that area. So there's a good chance sacrifices is one of those.
All right. Um, so I try and wheedle, like, so so does it just give me directions to that, or is there like some kind of secret passphrase I need to know in order to be among the chosen, or
No,
what have
he
you?
just tells you. I mean, it's basically the thing that the younger kids don't know about because they'd want to go there, but they wouldn't know what to do. The adults kind of the older adults turn a blind eye to, and then like those of sort of a marrying age or a little bit older head out to drink and party and enjoy.
I clap him on the shoulder and say sounds like my kind of night.
A good time. Bring your own bottle though, because if you share them, they don't last long.
Plenty of uh, too many people to pass a bottle around. How many are we talking?
It depends. I think we might have 30 or 40 there this year.
A lot of souls to fuel some magic.
Samantha and Twylla,
All
are you?
right, so I guess that's me.
Samantha or Twyla, are you looking into stuff? What are you
There's got to
doing?
be some old witch on the outskirts of the village somewhere, right?
There's not really a witch there. I mean, there are. You might be able to find some of the religious folks.
Like old religion.
Yeah, I mean, there are still practitioners. I mean, you can find them in like in the city as well. There are just not as many of them. Like the church allows them, but kind of looks down on them as silly superstitions.
Yeah, I'm gonna find someone that can tell us about the temple.
Okay. You start just asking around as far as, or how are you trying to find?
I think I'm just gonna ask the bartender, like, who's is there an elder in town that can give us some information about some of the ruins in the area?
Um,
We're more concerned with the history than the partying.
oh, quieter times and years you could have come here. Iona Blackthorn is probably who you want to talk to.
Thank you.
He kind of gives you like she's this. Um, she's essentially sort of the town doctor slash um, uh, not necessarily priestess of the old ways, but just is fairly knowledgeable about the area. Town doctor would make some sense because she's probably going out into those areas to find things.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go track her down.
Right. Not too hard to find her because there is a like her sort of where her medical practice is. Like there's a home for it. As you go in, uh, there's someone who's probably 17 or 18, like curled up and groaning on the floor, and there is a bucket next to him as well as a large glass of water. And you just kind of hear her say, "He's like, and she just goes, it's only 2 o'clock and you're already this bad. You have to slow down."
This is the freak out tent of the festival.
Essentially,
Well, I'll wait patiently on the side while she deals with her patient.
no, she doesn't deal with the patient anymore. Like she gave him
Oh,
probably something. He's just now curled up on the floor in like the front room with a thing to vomit into and then a big thing of water. Yeah, so she kind of called that from the back.
well, I'll approach. Oh, what was her name again?
Iona Blackthorn,
Iona. All right.
and she just kind of looks up as she's sitting there, kind of going through some things, and just goes, "Well, what's wrong with you?"
Oh, nothing's wrong with me, Miss Iona. My companions and I came on the village kind of ignorant of the festival going on, but we were interested in the history of some of the old sites in this area, and your name was given to us as someone that might be able to share some information about that.
Kind of looks at you as the history of the old site. I have plenty of time right now to do a whole thing on the history of the old sites here.
I can't tell if she's being sarcastic or
Okay,
not.
this is yeah.
Okay. Well, they said you had the knowledge. They weren't specific on whether you actually had the time or not.
Well, you choose a poor time to come out here because there's going to be people tend to find their ways into different places in the woods.
Well, yeah, as I said, we were unaware that the festival was happening when we came out. So,
Well, it's a harvest festival. They always get always fairly popular, and we are one of the largest towns in this area. They actually do enjoy the fact that we're not far from um, the sort of ancient ruins.
so there's one temple in particular, in whatever the general direction of it is. Is that something that someone interested in the history and the lore, is that worth our time, or is there a better site you could point out?
It's probably the most complete one that's still around. I went into those things when I was a kid, but I haven't been in a long time. For the most part, they stopped being used a long time ago and are sort of far enough away from everything that you may get a person or two in there, but nothing terribly interesting.
Is there a site somewhat close that's maybe a little more isolated that might have fewer puking rebel rousers?
He sort of looks and goes, ah, yeah. She's like, not most of them are crumbled and very little is there. That is the most complete one that we have.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you get back to your vomiters. Maybe if we come back to her in like a couple of days. All right, I'll go back to the
Then it won't
inn,
be the High Summer Festival anymore, for good or
Yeah.
ill.
but she'll have more time to talk to us about it.
So that terrible thing that happened out to you in the woods, let me give you the context about it.
Sure.
151 reasons why you should have known better.
And Twylla, or are you looking for something particular?
Yeah, I think Twylla is honestly just here for a good time. She's looking for someone to pay for her drinks and keep her company.
Okay.
Did you say that with air quotes or not?
Mm.
Yeah,
No.
there are plenty of people looking to keep each other company in this one, and lots of them. The thing is, you find yourself being like, how old are you?
I don't remember. Probably like early 20s.
Yeah. You are
We
someone
cut.
nobody knows. That makes you.
We cut to her in like 20 minutes where she's going like, "I'm sharing my room with two friends. We have to be very quiet."
She's like, there's a lot of people who are very like a lot of attention because just nobody knows you.
Mm. Yeah,
So
Twyla's just kind of soaking it in, not giving a lot of attention to any particular person, but like just enjoying it.
you were also asked about it. You're coming out of the sacrifice, so you're asked for that a few times. They give you kind of the same explanation. Um, yeah, as they're basically what all of the people around this age are waiting for is for a couple festivities a little bit later in the night, and then people are going to go out there to party. One of them does kind of let you know. He goes, "What I've been told is there's some places out here, particularly on this evening. This is the one night of the entire year where the spirit world is closer to ours. Sometimes, some of those places, you can hear some things."
What kind of things?
My sister, when shortly before she got married, when she came out here, uh, she went to a place and she managed to find. Uh, she said there was a spirit that she saw in the dark. She and a friend had gone into one of these underground places, and she heard the whispers. She happened to tell me where it was. If you want me to show you the whispers,
Maybe you can just tell me where it is.
the one he kind of describes something, and it's not terribly far from the temple that you're aware of. I don't believe it's the same one, but like this guy is a little inebriated, and he himself does not seem 100% sure exactly where it's at. He knows general areas.
All right, yeah, I think Twyla takes note, and we'll probably find an opportune time to sneak away to that.
Yep. All right. So we get kind of towards that evening. What are you all doing?
Definitely not pouring wine onto the ground. That seems like a waste.
I did get the impression that most of the wine was going to be going into people's throats.
Yeah, the wine that sacrifices the stuff you puke up later on.
Okay. This is a religion I can get behind.
Don't waste the wine. Recycle
So, so on the one hand, the area is going to be pretty crowded, most likely,
The,
and we may
the
have people
vomit of our
wandering
savior.
into. Yeah, people wandering over the site. On the other hand, if anybody asks us why we're there, we can point to the party. So
Right? Do you follow? Do you head out for the sacrifice and then branch off?
that's my vote. If other people have a different plan, that's fine too. But it gives us an excuse to be out there, and then we can sort of slip away from the gathering.
Yeah, I don't know that I have anything better.
Yeah, I mean, this trip doesn't have to be all business, right? We did save the kingdom. I think we're entitled to a little debauchery.
Yeah. Did you hang out at the sacrifice at all, or just kind of you see the group of people around the fire in a sort of ruins of it's sort of circular ruins that there's not a whole lot left of them, just like bits of stone. There's like a bit of a pillar with these kind of weird carvings and such in them, and then you have a group where they have a number of those bits of ruins, things that have fallen over, have been dragged to essentially become places to sit. Definitely not where they used to be.
An archaeologist's nightmare.
I'm willing to stick around for like a drink and some carousing, and then I suggest we sort of we stagger our exits and just slip away quietly off into the woods.
And are you all like roughly of an age, like early 20s?
I
Or
think
some-
I'm maybe like a little bit older, maybe mid to late 20s. It takes
think I said
longer to
early
learn
20s
magic
previously.
than sneaking.
Okay. So yeah, there's a good amount of attention for all of you, probably because you're just not you're not the people they've seen year after year at this festival. Um, yeah, it's not too hard to have a couple of drinks before you end up heading off. And there's enough there that if someone just sort of wandering off in one direction, could be to use the bathroom, could be to meet somebody. People just sort of turn a blind eye to those things unless they
Yeah,
realize a friend has not been back for a while.
if the three of us wander off together, they're going to be telling stories about it. That's for years.
What happens in the woods between three consenting adults and a satyr is nobody's business.
I'm not saying you're not going to be curious, but I would need an etch a sketch and a blackboard to show you. Whiteboard won't do. I need chalk. um, yeah. So with maybe a little more alcohol in you than you tend to have when you go on like a thieving job, you make your way out, and you do see sort of on the way there. There has been um, some people have kind of come out this way. You see a couple footsteps or like footprints and stuff left, like some places in the mud where it had rained a day or so ago. Kind of a few sort of out in this area until you get to the entrance itself. So in the entrance itself, the part on top is falling apart. It's one of those things where you have just a very little bit left. There's like a tiny bit of a second floor. Most of the interior walls have fallen down, but there are steps that lead down into into sort of these large doors, and these actually appear to have been sort of much better maintained than most ruins seem to be. It looks like this is something that is occasionally kept up with.
Is this the same place where like the whispers are heard, like or near this area?
It's a little hard to tell because he was rather drunk and didn't know the place itself, but it does sound like this was kind of what he was talking about.
Okay.
Good, you head on down.
Well, and altogether an altogether different form of entertainment now.
Okay. To check one thing real quick because I may need to. So, whatever we did, Will's yours comes out of your character sheet with everything working fine, like the dynamic lighting stuff. Everyone else, vision on. Let me just turn those on, and I might see about having you re-add that as your token here in a moment. 60, 60, 60. Let me make sure this stuff works. 60, 360. All players see light has sights. 60. Okay. So let me do this real quick. That's right there. I hit the number lock. Oh, that might be why. Oh. There we go. Okay. Whoops. Let me do something real quick. I am going to ignore that part of the map you're not supposed to see yet. Where is reset fog? Okay. Yeah, you end up in. So if you want to take your. Will, you don't have to do this for the other two. If you want to click on the one that's there, maybe remove the token from your character sheet, and then click on your token there, and then hit use this token. What it might do is actually keep. It might mean so we don't have to redo that every time we pull out the character things. As I said, I noticed Will's worked, so I think we figured it out, and then made that as token maybe.
Right, so you want us to we just drag it out of the
No. Don't, just on your character sheet, you've got the one that's like, make this your token. What I would do is I would just go ahead and remove that.
How do we?
If you click on it, will it say like remove?
Oh, the avatar. Yeah.
So
okay.
underneath, wait a minute. Why can I not? Oh, that's why I can't grab stuff. Okay, so when you open up your character sheet and you hit edit,
Yeah.
default token optional. If you click remove on that, and let me do this real quick. Let me copy these. If you hit remove on that and then click your token on the desktop and then hit make token, I think what that might do means I don't have to redo that every time we bring your tokens in.
Okay. Right now the desktop for me is just a big black square. I don't see my actual token.
Oh, yeah, that'll be
In here.
Oh, I think I know that's why. Let me I put this bright light. Let's see if that works. Do you see anything now?
No.
I see the blackness of my soul.
Okay. Then let me do this for you. Twylla, edit. I'm going to remove your token. And then you select a token. Will, are you able to see stuff?
Let me double check that. I can see the starter. I can see the starting room. If I move my token back and forth, the lighting shifts.
And so let me edit. Oh yeah. Yeah, Paul, you remove the wrong one here. Let me do Use that token. Okay, now are people able to see?
I still have a black screen,
Same
but I do
here.
notice when I look on the right, like at the in the notebook, I'm the only one that doesn't have a token anymore next to my name.
Yeah, I think you removed the wrong one.
Oh,
Does that make a difference?
Oh,
it
I
does.
see something.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, what I just did is you know what may have happened? Well, I just put the thing so that it was, I see the problem. Okay. Um, I'll just put control by all players for all of yours. That's probably why it wasn't showing up. Now do you see all three of them?
Yes.
I do. When I went to edit, I only had an avatar. I didn't have a token section.
Yeah, because if you hit edit, the other one should be kind of underneath. I think you may not have had that before. What I can
Yeah.
do is this, though. I can put that back in there for you. Remember, I'm sure there's a way to actually tag these tokens so I can be like, just type in one thing to get all of these. There we go. Now, that should appear for your character sheet. All right. Make everybody a little bit smaller. So, this first room, as you sort of kind of walk down into it, um, it goes down and you have like those pillars that are there, and there are intricate carvings, much of which have been lost to erosion and just sort of what time does for places like this. And the doorway that is there, actually, you have seen doors in places that have not been open for a long time. You also have seen doors that occasionally someone comes through and makes sure is in working condition. That does a little bit of repair, and that is one of these. And stealth level, yeah. And also, you'll notice the white number there.
The three.
Yeah, that is a stealth level. What I did is I went ahead and
Oh,
I found the thief font, and instead of me having to double check a thing, I'm like, I'll just put the friggin' stealth level there, and if I have to replace it, I actually have on the side of it, I have all the individual numbers. So if someone does something to make it darker in a room or make it a little more there, I can just drop something in.
Okay.
Nice. That streamlines a bit of the core loop.
Yep. I also, and you can't see this, but I also put a thing where I put the room numbers just in big letters on the thing, that so it's much easier for me to see instead of going, all right, you are here. You're not seeing any light coming from underneath the door. And a quick listen doesn't have, you don't hear anything right there.
Okay. But this is a well-maintained shrine.
At least
I don't have.
the door itself has been kept in good condition.
Okay. I feel like I feel like I feel it's like it's metagaming to check for traps immediately because I don't think we've seen any sign that the people in this place are like dissuading intruders.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if there's like smugglers camping out here, that might be a concern.
If there were, they would probably know better than to be hanging out during the festival when a bunch of drunken people are going to show up tomorrow.
Yeah, and from a metagaming perspective, I don't like traps usually, unless it's the kind of thing where like you have a lock thing where it lets you know, oh, you can see that there's like a trap on this particular like chest or something. But just the ones where you're walking down a hall and suddenly everything sort of falls. If I was going to use one, and I have not in here, you would probably look for. Yeah, I look at traps the way I look at puzzles in RPG. I'm not generally a fan.
Okay. Well, I guess I will. I guess I will carefully open the door, or at least enough to squeeze through.
All right, the door itself. If you want to, because you're not going to be quite sure what's there, you want to make a stealth play, or do you want to trust to? You want to get 3 where you're at right now. If you open the door and there happens to be someone back there.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to play. Good gravy. Do I have a way of not obliterating this check?
Well, we are right by the entrance. If we screw it up, we can go outside, wait 10 minutes. And, I mean, it is based on the video game, right? So we'll just wait 10 minutes, come back.
I thought I saw someone in there. I don't know.
I think it's been established that's not how it works. I'm gonna score a 5 on 1 card.
Okay. Let me pop out my little alertness tracker. Oh, then also, where is? I think I threw that. Whoa. Are you able to see the mattress behind me? Oh, barely. I just.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I pulled that out because I thought the people were supposed to be coming this morning to take those away, and so I had that going because we're getting rid of that, just getting rid of some of that stuff. So now until tomorrow, I've just got this big ass mattress taking up part of the room. Oh, there it is, sitting right on top of these. Oh, did you ever play? I happen to see there. Did you ever play? Uh, the clay that woke with us at Fear the Con.
The what?
The clay that woke about the Minotaurs at Fear the Con.
I watched part of that, but I didn't sit in on it. No.
It's super interesting. If any of you are looking for interesting games, that's a super interesting one. Anyway, okay, so you're doing the 5. The other 2, are you just kind of hanging back and waiting for him to check if the coast is clear?
Yeah, I mean, I'm close to the door, but not in his way.
Yeah, I think Twylla might just be looking around the room, just seeing like if there's anything super interesting, like carvings or anything.
Right. So in the place that you're at right now,
She finds a bauble worth 100,000 gold coins.
so here there's not much, but oh,
So if we did convert our Feycoin into experience, what would we be talking there?
yeah, you have to find a seller for those.
I'm sure that someone would be interested.
I mean, I imagine the plot arc of successfully fencing the Feycoin would itself generate coin for experience.
I eat one. How many experience points do I get?
Well, when the doctor has to go in and remove it from your colon.
Oh no, I think he has to make a play to see if he digests it.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, there's the hallway that kind of opens up beyond that.
Oh man, we shouldn't have come here drunk, guys, because she's kind of pretty.
Yeah, what's the deal with that person?
She's basically sitting there and looking over like a number of the things. She's got like a candle with her, and then she's just looking over and like running her hand along. It's you can see you can't see exactly what she's looking at, but you can see on some of the ones in front of you that there's like script on the wall in a language that if you have Arcana, there are individual words here and there you'll recognize that look different. It'd be kind of like looking at Old English Beowulf today. There are a couple words you'll recognize. There's a few others. If you heard them spoken aloud correctly, you'd be like, "Oh, I know what that is." But a lot of them aren't quite there.
I'm gonna sneak into that room. I don't recognize her, right? She's not one of the witches from Ravenholm.
Oh no! This is someone you saw at the inn earlier. Probably early 30s. in there and dressed like the dress is very small town.
Interesting.
All
Yep,
right.
I'm willing to cross the threshold.
Okay.
Especially given that big fat 6 in that room.
Yep.
And I do
I'm
signal
wondering-
behind me. We've got company. One figure. One figure, unknown hostile, question mark.
I mean, based on the look of her, so I'll peek in. I mean, maybe we don't have to hide. We could look around, make sure she's the only one, and then maybe talk to her. Maybe
She
we can
seems like
exchange.
she seems like she's pretty focused. I don't know that
Yeah,
she'd notice us.
and she's pretty, so she's probably nice. I mean, we could probably exchange some information. She might know some things that we want to know. Maybe we know some things she wants to know. We
And
brought
it's
wine.
your professional opinion that pretty people are generally congenial and friendly.
That has nothing to do with profession. That's just life knowledge, pal.
So have we been consumed by a pillar of salt yet?
Nope. Are you two planning to move in?
I'm planning to move in.
Well,
Yeah.
you already played for it, so you can be in there.
I think Twylla will be doing a similar thing.
I think if
Well,
she's focused, I'll just trust this.
it's certainly a busy. This place is a bit busy for the night. Are we supposed to be able to see into here?
Yes, actually, because there's not a doorway there.
Okay.
And I am going to go ahead and have the torches flicker just a bit and darken it.
Okay.
Make it a little more ominous.
It won't go below 7, but yeah, as you sort of at that point, at least it's dark enough where it's fine. But yeah, there are torches lit sort of throughout it, so looks like people are here. What did everybody play, by the way?
I played a 5/1 card.
6-1.
Yep. You are good. Yeah, and she's just in there, just sort of looking it over. You can sometimes hear her trying to sound out at least some of the letters that she recognizes. And seems to be muttering a prayer of some sort.
I think Twyla's gonna head in this direction.
Okay. Yeah, and then this directly north of you is a hole in the ground.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Leads down.
Yeah. Will, if he just redid your deck earlier, when he did that for me, it was in numerical order, not by suit. So like all the 2s, then all the aces, then all the 2s, then all the 3s.
Oh yeah, then maybe hit the recall and reshuffle again.
Yeah, I mean it's not literally shuffled. It's just very face dense.
Or actually, no, it went the other direction. It was like all kings, all queens, all jacks.
That means it probably started at the bottom and worked its way up. So maybe if you want to hit recall and reshuffle, it should go through and basically put all that stuff in a little better order.
Okay.
Which I thought was cool at first, but then I realized that, now I have to waste all my face cards on piddly crap and not keep them for when I need them.
Well, my human concept of probability, my limited human understanding of probability says that this looks a lot more correct. So who knows?
Oh, you know what? You may not have hit shuffle because I think I hit recall and reshuffle for everyone before the game because there was still stuff on the
Okay.
table, and then I switched it up. So yeah, it probably was literally just going down the way that list was in there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Twyla, you're headed to the east.
Yeah, towards this big hole.
Okay.
And I played a 5.
All right, you want to go ahead and move yourself there.
Cool.
And what are the other two doing?
I think I'm right now just going to look around and get a feel for how many people are in here. So
Yeah, but to do that, you got to tell me where you're going.
yeah, I'm just going to peek over in this area.
Okay. Yeah. So as you get towards that area, one thing you're going to get into is sort of the yeah. You're going to need to play for that, and then
Okay.
Dominik, where are you
I'll
going?
just trust the 6.
Oh, that's right.
I think I'll go with Twyla because that's closer to whoever this is and what they're doing.
Okay. So first, this will be one we hear from that sort of southern door by where you're at. You're at, Samantha.
Okay.
Someone wants to take Thane.
I'll take Thane. Here, I commune with you. Here, I cast off the shackles of the tree civilization and return to the brambles of the wild. Here, I remember the gods and the friends that humanity once had.
Sharpen, take a breath as he cuts the top of his hand and lets the blood flow into the roots.
Bind me to the green ones who come from beyond. Lead me into their joyous rapture. Keep me from their terrors, and let those fall upon my enemies. Blood into the earth, earth into spirit, spirit into blood.
Okay. I retract my thoughts about talking to these people.
And in this one over here, you two are going to hear this.
Can we bring them in force?
Not forces enough to takes the city.
But if we had help,
He was thinking the birds is going to hire hawks for us, that these will tear down their churches to make room for the earth. Dead souls sprouts no growings. We's cannot find what we's needs.
but my family.
Yours family is not use. Use wants to bring the earth back, but use all going to only drop them on us.
They should know the truth.
And theys will, but we cannot move too early. We must be willing, waiting our time. Patience, Sabrina. Tell the others of the nobles, whispers it in their heart and let the seed grow. Mighty oak springs from the teeniest of seeds. Cool! We've got anarchist cultists.
We love it. So I have a question about the hole.
Yep.
How big is said hole?
It is about a 6 foot. I mean, it goes down kind of deep. You're not quite sure on there. You need a light source, but the actual thing across is about 6 feet. But as you notice, jumping it is a possibility. Partly because it's got some stuff you'd be able to grab hold of and kind of pull yourself up. So it's not like a sheer drop.
Okay, yeah, I think that I'm gonna try to jump that.
The conversation that the two-person conversation was that from this room over here?
Yep.
Okay, and one of the speakers is currently not visible.
Yeah, one of them kind of walked out of that line of sight. The other one's sort of sitting there and sort of turns around and is looking over the some of the stuff on the walls themselves. You've got like drawings and other things that are a part of it.
I think it'd be more spooky if there was only one person in the room.
Then who was phone?
He was doing both voices.
All right, what do you do?
I'm gonna peek through this door and see if I can see a tree in there. Like, what roots is he putting his blood on?
Let me do this real quick. Damn it. Oh, go to item. I'll just move that. You sort of look through. Yeah, he is in front of a tree. Um, there's roots and such that are coming. Like the tree itself is not actually there, but there are roots that are sort of heading through. And you're seeing all this stuff on here, like the same like drawings and such all over that have been etched into the stone. They're a lot better kept up inside. One of the problems in this part of the temple, because this has been a thing that people have been coming to for like literally hundreds of years, on and off, that stuff in this part at least has been picked through pretty decently. Like it's
So,
mostly
is there
been.
a ceiling on this temple, or is it like?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're underground right now.
All right. What's this guy's dress? Is he also just a weird villager?
Yeah, villager means he's got like looks fairly big. Like this dude's probably blacksmith. You can just kind of tell by he's got like some like pits on his arm from where sparks and such would have sort of hit over the years. Yeah, he's dressed fairly plainly.
We should have asked around in the village about like what's the social contract? Like, if someone's in a room, are they to be left alone? Because if this is a thing where there's hundreds of people, they shouldn't be surprised that other people are going to be coming into the ruins with them.
I think that there's hundreds of people. You'd be hearing more people through the halls.
Well, I mean hundreds of people in the area, which
Yeah.
means there's going to be more than one person per ruin at a given time.
Yeah, but there was a party of like 30 to 40 people a quarter mile away from here. They might expect to not be disturbed, or if they're disturbed, have like one or two lovebirds stumble in or something.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like this is probably not a group of people. This is probably just individuals that came to the ruins for whatever their bloodletting ceremonies are.
I mean, that actually sparks a question. I want to see if I can get a closer look at these two people in the side room.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to kind of pop yourself up, one of them at this point has walked out. One of them is gone. But the one that's still in there is like again, like kind of plain clothes, a bit wild-eyed, as he's sort of looking over the things. He's touching these parts of the walls almost like it's an old friend in certain respects.
So he was the one who was who with the rustic speech style.
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of want to know where the other one's going, but that means I'm going to have to cross this room. What's up with that hole in the ground?
As you said earlier, it's about 6 feet. It's possible to jump, and it's also like it goes down kind of deep. You're not quite sure how far. It is, however, as you'll notice, it's not like there's places to catch yourself on the rock on there, so it's one where it's doable. It's not impossible.
Yeah, and I played 10 over 2 cards to get across.
Yeah, as you go to look, you just hear go whip.
Yep, that answers my question.
I think with the 10, that would let her dodge the tentacle that like snakes up to grab her as she jumps over, right?
I see someone is looking at my notes. All right, yeah, you pop over here. It's got a 5 in this area.
Okay.
You do see her starting to walk kind of around the corner. And then Paul, what do you like? What is everyone doing?
I still want to look around before I start looking at detail of things. So I'm gonna head up here.
Still being sneaky?
Do I get if you roll? Is it going to be the 6 I just left or the 3 I entered?
The place you were at was actually a 3 at this point.
Okay, then.
Yeah, you got the lights and stuff around here.
I will do 6/2.
Okay. Yeah, as you sort of come up, you notice that she's actually kind of on the opposite side. Like you can sort of see her head poking out here a moment, and then as she heads a little deeper in with the candle.
All right.
All right, and Dominik and Samantha, or Dominik and Twylla.
I think Twyla's probably going to try to move down into this hallway.
Okay.
And stealth level is 5, right? Yes. Okay. So that's a 7 over 2 cards minus 1 suspicion.
All right. And how far down you going?
I mean, I guess just like right here.
Okay. You want to move yourself?
Yeah.
And you see her. Oops, wrong one. You see her kind of like heading through here and then down sort of that rock there, and you can see from like down where that 6 is. Nope, that's actually that's my room number. I don't think you can see that. Down in this corner, there is a very slight glow, like there is a torch maybe around the corner.
Okay. All right.
Just slightly of this person who is lovingly caressing the walls and the woman who is in the main room reading inscriptions off the wall. Who was more distracted?
Oh, definitely the one who's checking the description. She should be very much into the thing that she's doing.
Okay, so I think what I'm going to try and do is come up to. Oh, interesting. I think I'm going to try and wend my way towards her to see if I can make a break past her.
All right, you want to make your play for the 3 that you're in now to get into the 6 that's in here.
Okay.
And while he's doing that, Paul.
I'm going to continue my investigation or my mapping. I'm heading up to the north area. And I'm going to trust the roll on this one.
From the 3?
Yeah. I'm feeling
Who
lucky.
likes a 33% chance?
Yeah, there's a moment.
That's 50, right?
There's a moment as you go where she's noticed something, but doesn't. If it meets, it hasn't quite picked it up. Oh no, you have a 4 because of your thing, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just a moment where she kind of hears something, and then there's a moment where she's hello.
And I'm like ready at a
And
moment's notice.
then you hear her call out. What's that guy's name? Yeah, she calls out, Thane? Yeah. Making sure. I heard something. It's probably a rat.
Why, I never.
All right, and then Will, would you play?
5 on 2 cards.
Yep, not a problem. You'll be able to kind of get into here. Yeah, so it's one of those things where if the camera sees her kind of turn and go, like, huh, what was that? Then we might just see sort of like Dominik poke his head out behind in the darkness. And you're at 6 there. Yeah. Yeah, Paul, you're still at 3, kind of where you're at, but that may change here shortly. What's everyone do?
I think Twyla's going to try to like creep around this corner here and just see what there is to see.
All right, go ahead and make your play. While you're doing that, you're making your play. What are uh, Samantha and Dominik doing?
Now that I've got a closer look at the inscription that she's reading, do I get any kind of vibe off of it? Do any significant words stand out? I have 1 dot in arcane.
Yeah, her thing is, so you've seen a couple of little things. It's the stuff that she's sort of talking about as you're sort of looking at it, like, you recognize a little bit from some magic words and stuff you've seen. However, you're seeing like 2 or 3 letters you recognize that are still quite a bit altered from it, and you see her as she's sort of tracing them and trying to spell out, like trying to sort of say them, at least the parts that she can. So very quickly, what becomes clear is she doesn't know how to read it. She recognizes less letters than you do. You've only got the 1 in arcane. She hasn't done much studying. There's just a few little things that have sort of made their way there. This is what she's doing here is sort of almost more of a meditation on the using the words on here than it is a like trying to specifically understand something. This is that like
Gotcha.
pagan, like I'm getting closer to my roots, man.
Okay, then I'm gonna pass her up and head down this hallway. Just scoot between her and the wall and just make my way down the different direction.
Okay. You want to trust the die, or you want to make a roll?
I'll trust the die.
All right. Yep. Not a problem. And Paul.
I'm gonna continue northy.
Okay.
Boom. Ooh, what's over here? I might stop and use the restroom here.
Okay. We'll pop over to
the corner. No, I just meant in the corner in character.
Yeah. So as you kind of go up here, you do see someone like down that hall with a. Oh, did you make a play for that?
The reason I'm gonna.
You're at a 6 in here.
Let's see what happens with a 4 over 2.
Oh, 4. Okay. Oh, because you chose 4 over 2 because I rolled a 6. Yeah, you're fine as you sort of make your way there. And then Twylla, you said what was your play there?
Yeah. Oh, I preemptively played. Oh wait, no, I was moving over here, so that was a 7 over 2 cards.
So yeah, as you make your way down, you see she kind of comes through here, and then you see another woman kind of poke her head out for a second. She's like, "Come quick, he's talking."
Okay, then, I'm gonna closely follow behind them when it's my turn again.
All right. Well, you'll hear this.
No longer. We are not of the world anymore.
Here he is, be.
Here, the veil is thin.
Can we be bringing you back?
Only through great effort. But you would not want us all to return.
Sorry. I'm having a hard time not reading this in Jar Jar Binks' voice before I say it out loud because of I just watched a thing about the hatred of that movie like right before we started playing, so I've got his voice in my head apparently. But we want you here's again, back with us as you used to be.
Some of my brethren would bring darkness. Some would.
Yes, great one.
A coin. I feel the memory.
Man.
Oh, good. That's a thing.
What?
Wonder what would have happened if we didn't bring any coins. Did you have a backup one?
We wouldn't have had that eavesdrop, I'm sure.
Yeah.
What did everyone do?
Well, I'm not happy about ghosts, but I don't know about them yet because I'm way up north.
I want to see the ghost. I'm gonna creep closer to the door.
Okay. Yeah, so you want to make your play there. And if you said, Paul, you said you're heading kind of more up in that northern section, and then where were you going, Will?
I want to see what's going on with the 6, the dead end 6.
Okay.
To the west or left of me.
Yeah, there is. Are you? You want to do a roll or a play?
Not in a 3. I don't. I'll play 5 on 1 card.
Okay. And then Twylla, were you doing a roll or a play?
Play. So I got an 8. And my King of Hearts is a -2 suspicion, and I have 2 cards. So.
Oh, yeah, you managed to get kind of close. With the two of them, they're sitting in front of a wall where there's like a moss that's somewhat bioluminescent, and there's just this kind of thrum there to it, and the voice has been coming from there. You have your Feycoin on you, correct?
Yeah.
You can feel a warmth in your pocket where the Feycoin is. There's a decent chance you also have that separated from the other coins and stuff because that's where the small fortune, you don't want to lose it. Wherever it's at, you can just sort of feel it. Like it's not like a back of your iPhone hot, but it's just this pleasant warmth that seems to be emanating from it as you kind of get closer, and it almost seems like the glow gets a little bit more intense as you approach.
This episode is the 3 of us communally sticking our fingers into a light socket. I don't know what a win looks like for us here. I mean, as characters, as players, well, delicious drama is always great.
Oh, there's some stuff coming up. You will discover that.
All right, so I'm gonna. Does my single 5 get me to that 6 in the corner?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
I'm presuming this is basically just a dark hole.
Well, no, it's this actually should be a doorway here. I think I forgot to put the thing there. And we'll say at this point, actually, that guy's moved on. Yeah, there as you kind of come in, it's sort of a dark hole, but this is. Do you have medicine?
Yes.
There actually are. Like you do notice some of the roots and plants and stuff that are in here. Some of them actually do have some medicinal value. So far, it's about the first thing of worth that you've seen.
Okay. Willing to gather up some stuff. What's suited for a loot action?
Here I think we'll go with diamonds, guile, just as far as like finding the right stuff where it is relatively dark.
Okay.
Well, you're making that play. What are you doing, Paul?
I'm continuing my explorations.
Yeah, well, the man there he's sort of doing some prayer up in that area, kind of like eyes closed. There's the candle that's sort of there, but it seems to be just sort of in that darkness, even though technically, for meditation purposes, there's some magic. And sometimes, yes, being in a place with literally no light can be useful, but bringing a goddamn candle fucks up the actual having no light part of it, that you're supposed to be in a place with no light for as close to sensory deprivation as you're going to get at this time period. You also notice, though, kind of below where that 10 is, it's kind of the same thing. There are places where you actually have some medicinal, like plants and such, growing.
Yeah. All right. Let me get 7 pips worth of that moss.
Right. If you want to take 140.
Right.
And I'll take 10 on 2 cards.
So 10 on 2 cards. You have 1 pip.
I have 1 pip in medicine, yes.
Okay, and you had 10.
Yes.
You'll wait. Sorry, Paul. Wait, Paul. How much?
I have 0 medicine.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. In that case, I thought you had medicine. Yeah. So that one, uh, you could grab some moss. I'd put that about 50.
Okay. I mean, if I wouldn't recognize the quality, then I probably just would leave it alone.
Yeah.
I'm
For
not
sure.
sure about grabbing.
Yeah. I thought.
I
I
don't
thought you,
grab random moss.
yeah. I thought you had it. What
I
was yours
mean,
again?
unless it's useful in arcane spells or something.
Not yet. We're not at that point yet.
Oh boy.
Um,
Yeah, I've scored 10 on 2 cards, and I have 1 dot in medicine.
Okay, so 10 and 2 cards with 1 dot in medicine, 150. As you gather up some of the plants and other things that are useful.
I'm taking my 7 back.
Mhm. What do you do?
I'm going to continue in. I want to get a better look at what they're talking to.
Mhm.
So I'm going to. All right, 7 over 2 cards, -1 suspicion.
Okay. Yeah, the two of them, as they're talking, you kind of imagine press against a wall, as the two of them head kind of back out. As you've got this sort of bioluminescence moss, and as you get kind of closer to it, you feel the warmth. And again, not an aggressive one, but the warmth a little bit more in where the Feycoin is. And there's like a vague whisper. Like it's kind of hard to get your exact hearing of it. And what about for Samantha and Dominik?
Um, I think I'm gonna sneak past this person,
Okay.
and you said he's praying, like
Yep.
eyes closed, meditating.
Mhm.
As I go by, I'm just gonna pinch out the candle and help him out and help him pray properly.
Okay, make your play, and then if you want to put an extra one face down for that.
Do-
And then Dominik. Oh, you're muted.
Okay, I'm going to cross the space that the supplicant was in previously and see if I can follow them out.
Okay.
So heading over to here.
Yep. Go ahead and make your play.
Okay. What's suited?
We'll say finesse. Try to be a little bit quiet here.
Okay.
Paul, what you end up playing?
I played 7 with 7 over 1 card with 1 face down.
Okay. And you kind of get to the point where you actually probably see Dominik heading through that next room.
And 6 on 2 cards.
Okay. So as you head around that corner, you kind of go through it as you're sort of looking into the room itself. There is, as he's walking up to talk to 2 people here, one of the things that's not sort of pictured here, but there is like it's almost a large gate that's sort of shimmering, kind of, over on this area that is built into the wall itself. Looks like it's been carved, and the thing has sort of the shimmering on the surface. You also feel like a warmth start up in your Feycoins. Paul, you start to feel this as well.
Oh boy.
Okay, this is looking a little alarming. I'm going to sneak in for a closer look.
Okay.
What's my stealth level here?
It's 5.
Okay.
Samantha and Twylla?
And what is...
Oh, suited, finesse, spades.
Okay.
Just to clarify, Twyla's alone in this room now, right?
Yep.
So I think I'm gonna try to commune with whatever was in here. I think I'm just gonna kind of whisper like, "Hello."
Yep. You just sort of lean in. And do you have any arcane?
I think I have 1 tick in it.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, there's a couple sort of words you know, and as you speak a few, that's some of the ones you've seen little bits of. The intensity starts to increase just a tiny bit, and we'll get to what happens here in just a moment. And then Paul, what are you doing?
I want to look at my Feycoin.
Yeah, as you kind of pull it, like you sort of pull it out, there is a gentle glow coming from it, and it's almost like a bit of a throbbing to it. Like just it's something you can almost just sort of feel, like it's almost got a pulse. And Dominik, would you play?
The
9
Feycoins
on 9 on 2 cards, 1 suspicion.
All right. Yeah, as you sort of come into the room, as you are like still in the darkness, as the two of them are there, the one kind of goes up and is like, "What bees?" And he goes, "Seems like it came to life more recently. Something's." And then there's just this. There's a flash, uh, and you're like basically all of your senses go a little haywire. And the same thing, like Twylla, as you sort of say the thing, as it sort of starts to glow. And then there's just a moment where it's almost like the moss just like reaches out towards you. And at the same time, Paul, as you're looking at the Feycoin, the glow gets more intense, kind of takes over everything, and then
and then blackness.
And then oops.
darkness impersonate me. All that I can see.
That's my old trap.
Let me see if this now works. Yep, looks like it. You are now in a lush, um, otherworldly place.
I'm sorry, a landmine has taken my sight because I can only see blackness.
Taking your eyes. Yes, you're in this sort of lush, overgrown place. Like the trees themselves seem to go up almost forever. There is a.
Were we teleported somewhere?
It. You just suddenly appeared in this
Okay.
area. You said you are no longer. You are no longer
All right.
there in the sort of temple, and the stuff around you. As you sort of can look. I'll say the treasure stuff will be found more in here than in the other one.
I'm serious that I can only see black right now.
Yeah, same here.
Oh, I can see stuff, but apparently I see green and a stealth level of 4.
So,
I see like vegetation and a stealth level of 4.
why the hell did you actually get? Okay, so that stuff is still on your tokens.
Will is the chosen one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Twyla was the one who was most physically chosen just then.
Now can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. They come out with the information still on there. Oh, you know what it probably was? I'm gonna do the same thing again for you real quick because I didn't have it set to be all players controlled by. We did that I think afterwards. So now, if I hit use select the token, because all the rest of the stuff stayed. I didn't have to re-enter in the stuff for the lights.
Michael, I'm apparently just the chosen one's assistant. you want the Mikey Mason reference.
Yeah, so now it's just like it's almost like the air itself is sort of, it's humid, a little bit hot. You're hearing cries of animals you are not at all familiar with.
Oh, it's Florida.
Yep, welcome to Florida.
Great.
The speech patterns of some of these NPCs that fits. Yous don't belong here.
All right, I turn to Samantha and I say, this is your game. Lead on.
Do I still have algae on my face? Or
No,
moth?
yeah. You ask them. She doesn't. If you ask them, like, guys, was I algae?
Before I start this meeting, you're all probably wondering why I summoned you here.
Is this as close a look as you were hoping for?
I guess it depends on what we see. Let's peek, see what we see.
Make your roll. Or you've got a 4 in the place that you're at. So generally, before you move it, you want to make your actual thing first.
Okay.
That may determine a little bit what happens.
All
Make
right.
your play.
All right. Let's see. Do these cards do anything good? You know what? Actually, before I do that, because I didn't realize that one of my cards makes it so I don't have to do that, I am going to scry that area instead.
Okay. So I'll move your up. If you want to ping where we're at.
Thinking like here, depending on how much time I get, just like a little circle around.
You get just one really on that one.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it's when you play it, right?
Yep.
Otherwise, it'd be a little overpowered. Yeah, as you sort of now the thing what you see here though, with Arcana, Medicine, and Arts, and like you're gonna, and then there's other things throughout, but like there's actually a decent amount of stuff around that you can sort of take. There are carvings that are, some of them are intertwined with vines and such. Some of the moss laden. There's plenty of things magically that are powerful. So you have this waystone kind of here that is that's got some glowing runes on it. You can see 2 sort of large ent-like creatures, which are planted and very like quietly sort of whispering to each other, like the south of you. Yeah, and then you've got there's a creature, one of the fae, stuff you've kind of read about, that is moving through this space and just sort of muttering to itself, and it kind of like kneels down on the ground at one point, puts its hand towards the dirt, and you see like there's some flowers, some other stuff sort of spring up, and he's just like, much too dead, much too dead.
All right.
And
So
a lot of the trees you're seeing here are dead. Like you're not seeing a lot of foliage. You are seeing grass, but not much beyond that.
So are ents something that we know of from like stories, or were you just using that word?
So from stories, you've heard of some of them are supposed to look like trees.
Okay. All right. Well, when my focus returns, I will tell them I think there's a fae on the other side of this outcrop here. Some ents, some weird sculptures, magical flowers sprouting up out of nowhere.
Do you think we need to be worried about being spotted?
I have no idea.
We are interlopers, but we also come bearing coins.
We were chosen. Feycoins do not just fall into people's laps. Uh,
Immediate, visceral experience, otherwise notwithstanding.
Say, mine was handed to me by some overtrusting people. I mean, if what they say about the Fae is true, we may not have a choice about being seen or not. Like, can you really hide from a Fae in their natural environment?
well, I'm more than happy to walk up and introduce ourselves if you guys are okay with that.
Well, I think
Are there any stories about any stories in this world about bargaining with the Fae in terms of the standard Earth? Be careful about bargains you enter into. Or
Yeah, most there are apparently people who've done well by the bargains, but there always seems to be a catch. A lot of them are basically like, don't bargain with Fae, don't eat of what Faes offer, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. I have to say I'm hoping for more information here. We're in way over our heads.
like, is the Fae lore? Is that like kind of like in our world where there's like dozens of types of Fae and different families and all that kind of stuff, or is it?
No, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot to Fae, but very little of it's actually like known. What is actually true and what is the conjecture of people who are half remembered myths and legends.
Okay. I mean, we can try to sneak, but if we're seen sneaking, that may be worse than just walking around and trying to find our way out of here.
We also have Feycoins in our pockets. I feel like they might sense those.
Yeah, that may or may not be a good thing or a bad thing. All right, so consensus: are we sneaking or just walking around? Everyone's got to say something.
Was it Twyla's a vote for walking around? What was Samantha's opinion?
Like 60% towards walking around. Like
I think
not really confident in it, but it just seems like the least. We're probably going to be seen anyway, and not sneaking may be seen as less hostile.
that's fine. Yeah, I think Dominik's willing to be swayed on this.
Okay, so what do you do?
I will lead them to the Fae I saw.
Okay. And it's like, so much is dead, so much is dead. And he's basically, you see like things growing on the sort of dead tree next to it, but as it gets like a little further away from it, it just starts to like wither and die. So much gone.
And then I think Twyla says, but so much gained now, am I right?
And he makes this like this weird. Is that what you say? Yeah.
Okay. While Twyla's creating a new character, Dominik and I will take a moment to decide
Yeah,
what we're gonna do.
As it turns, and it makes this like high pitched scream. Strangers have come.
Do we need to roll like a saving throw to not also make the same scream?
No, the Alien game has a great thing where if you roll stress, you can do a thing where you let off a scream that lowers your stress level, but everyone else around you gains stress level because of it. Like if your panic roll goes well, yours goes down, but everyone else gets more freaked out. Yeah, the screams are just it's just walking. It just kind of like comes up to you, the three of you. Strangers.
Hands are out to show no like hostile intention.
The ones we know don't know you. And then from this area, you see a person walking out.
Is it one of the people we saw in the basement?
No.
A druid?
No, but the thing is, he's dressed not unlike the ones you saw, and he actually kind of walks up. These two gigantic ants move a 6. I mean, we'll say at this point you're probably here in that area. As they come, and you hear this loud voice.
Yeah, more or less.
This loud voice, like, these are not friends. And
Well, that's not very nice.
yeah,
You talking about the ants or us?
the ants say that.
Oh, the ants. Okay.
And the man that kind of comes out just and sort of looks at you, walks over and goes,
We hope not to be enemies.
"Who are you? You're not one of us."
One of whom? Just so I know the context of describing who we are, if I know who we're not.
The Gathering of the Green.
No, we are not that. We were pilgrims investigating the ruins of the shrine of the temple, and suddenly we were here in the clearing on the other side of this rocky outcropping.
It gives a look. Is nothing would just bring you here to the thing, and then the fairy goes, "Feycoin, old promises on them. Smell it." Sort of looks just like,
You seem to be having some trouble here. Would you care to talk about it?
"You're talking to the Fae,
No, I'm talking.
or to the man who came up?"
I'm talking to the. I'm talking. I'll go with my original intention. I'm talking to the man.
He goes, "I don't know what trouble you think I'm having. I crossed over through the gates. You, Feycoin." The other one that is, "I smell Feycoin. Ancient promises, magic brought them here." He just sort of looks and goes, "I'm Resh, and I've lived in this area." He just kind of takes a look at the three of you and goes, "What village are you from?"
I'm willing to make the same. I'm willing to make the same lie I made earlier.
I'm going to tell the truth and say I'm from the city.
Ooh. I suppose if you're in the lead, I'll let you take care of that first.
I just don't.
Or do we speak over each other and provide?
I think we maybe
information.
Well, it doesn't mean that aren't necessarily from the same place. I just don't feel like getting caught in a lie here is going to do us any good. So yeah, maybe we just answer at the same time.
Yeah, we answer at the same time, and then I glare at you.
And then we look at each other, and then we like say each other's answer over each other.
No.
As you're sitting there in the afterlife going, we both could have been from different places. People are from different places sometimes.
Yeah.
And Twylla, what do you say?
I think that I'm just very non-specific. I think Twyla's just like, I'm from around. You probably haven't heard of it.
Around. That's actually the name of my village. Around. It just sort of looks and goes, and you see more, kind of like rushing in as they hear they heard that sort of cry, and he just goes, "You have Feycoin. What if three?" And Twilight, you said you're from the city, or you said one of the villages. What brings three people with Feycoins into the temple?
Well, that doesn't seem like a very difficult question. I think that we're looking for some answers here. We were just curious.
Blind luck and curiosity.
Yes. That may have worked out in your favor, or may have not.
That's exactly what I said before we came around this corner.
He goes, as the others sort of start to approach, like, you're in a place where, like, you're, think of exit, well, you're not even sure how to exit sort of this area, but you got the Fae just also, like, and the first one that you saw is like, as our promises. This goes, so blind luck and curiosity brought you here with some of the greatest treasures in the world.
And Moss brought me here. It was glowing. It was kind of gross. I'm not gonna lie.
And there's just a moment where he goes, wait,
Did not taste like unicorn souls.
were you with Arabella?
We were not with.
We passed. We
We were near her.
adjacent.
I was talking to her through the commune. You're
Were
muted.
you the one
You're
that
the
she
one
was...
with the nice voice.
You actually do recognize a little bit of the voice. It's different. It's not. It got amplified in certain ways and sort of changed in others. But yeah, you can kind of like the cadence of his speech is a little similar.
So the human-like person, the human-looking person is the voice we'd heard earlier, that Twylla heard earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He goes, well, it wasn't all me talking to her. Part of the green did as well. But humans here, well, humans who are not friends of the Fae, and the other ones are just sort of, again, staring at you.
When he says that, I ask why is that?
Yeah, bold of you to assume.
What was the source of that animosity?
People do not belong here. The Fae left our world for whatever reasons they were. Some of us have spent lifetimes spilling our own blood, saying prayers, to commune and to become friends with the Fae. You come in with ancient debts. And the Fae seem a little agitated. Like none of them are quite. They seem to be like following his cue on this right now.
Our goal in being here is to learn about the Fae and what these coins mean, what they are, who the Fae were.
And the one Fae is just kind of barks, just laugh. Oh, much has happened. Many here no longer remember the original compacts. Things passed down, things we no longer lived in humans, but not immortal. We were cast from the world.
Our intrusion here is purely unintentional. We hope you can forgive any offense that causes.
One of the ones that had come from sort of up north, up here, this goes, they got here. They should have a way for us to go back. Let's take the way they came. Return and put a foothold in the world again.
Now, I'm gonna warn you. That glowing moss stuff is really nasty. I don't know that you want to go that way. I can still taste it in my mouth.
Like I wonder, like, does glowing moss taste good? Just because I was a little drunk and like I found out that no, it does not taste good. As a matter of fact, it's really nasty. And maybe we should not have it just hanging out where someone can taste it. Be honest.
Can you I gesture to the trees, and I speak to the Fae that had been here originally, and say, what has caused these to wither?
Dying of the source. Less is left. Realm grows dark.
So right now I am flush with diamond face cards
Mm-hmm.
that represent kind of my magic. Can I like burn some of that into like this area and maybe give the trees, the plant life, some life?
Yeah, we'll say you try, you kind of focus, just and the thing that happened. This is one of the things that what she told you before about things being different is true because you're much more limited in what you can do in the world.
Okay.
But here, as it opens up, but the same thing sort of it's not as impressive as what he had done before, but it does the same thing where as it gets to a certain point.
Okay, because that would be 16 points of not knowing what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's still it's the same sort of thing. Um, where as you kind of power it in, and then there's just like a laugh,
I
and
was just trying. I was just trying to help.
it kind of walks over to you, and it's one where it's like you didn't notice that it was sort of like hunched over before, but as it draws itself up, or just almost just becomes sort of bigger, he's sort of looming over you, and just sort of gently puts a hand on the shoulder. He goes, "Tried to help, tried to do good. Take them to the Jenny." And the one that's further back that spoke earlier, Hazel Glide, goes, "No reason to disturb the Jenny with this."
Wait, what is it? This one's Hazel Glide?
Well, technically this one.
Okay.
Yeah, this is one of the ones that came from the north, so this is the one that's sort of like speaking with you. Hazel Glide's, no reason to take it. No reason to take it to the Jenny. We should get rid of them here. They're intruders. They don't belong here.
Maybe you're the one that doesn't belong here, and you're the intruders.
She's drunk. Please ignore her.
He just goes, if we belonged here, this place would be blooming. We must return to the world. Take our rightful places again.
Precisely. I'm glad that we all understand each other. Let's go talk to the Jenny.
Yeah, it's like the ends sort of move in a bit. Resh sort of turns and goes, Jenny's in a better place to decide than any of us. Y'all go talk to Jenny?
I don't know that we have much. It's either talk to the Jenny or be disposed of here. So I'm in favor of talking to the Jenny.
I will.
Between talk to the Jenny or strawberry jam, definite preference.
They take you up to this sort of area up here. Like you go basically through this stuff for a while, and you come out into this clearing. And the clearing here, there's actually like a little bit more like leaves and other stuff on the throughout. And as you've gone through, you passed some amazing stuff on the way. But unfortunately, it's a little hard to see when you're surrounded by Fae, who are all fairly alert.
Probably just a bad idea in general.
As you sort of get in, and there is a like as you approach, there's a figure that sort of appears almost made out of mist in some respects. Like as the mist kind of like goes across it, you can see features and stuff like appear briefly, but then disappear. Like as the mist sort of goes, so it's almost like a computer thing where someone is sort of appearing and disappearing before you, and the voice seems to come from the entire glade. Why are you here? What have you brought me?
I have a question out of game. Is it the same Jenny that we saw down in the I forget where we were.
It's
We were
different.
down.
It's different because Jennies are tied to specific locations. However, like you're looking at this going, yeah, this is the same sort of thing. It just looks a lot more powerful.
All right. Well, what does this voice say?
I said, what have you brought me? Why are you here?
We're here to help.
And how do you expect to help us?
We don't know, but
We
if we
have
can, we're
we have questions, and we have questions, and that seek answers. And if you have similar, perhaps we can answer each other.
What knowledge do you have that I might want?
Not knowledge, but the not knowledge, but the the token of debts. We
And
have
what
come
is,
into possession of Feycoin, and we are here seeking their origin. And that's basic. Dominik's out of his element, so maybe he'll let Sam do the talking.
I'll see how she replies to that.
yeah, it just goes. And then there's a moment where, like she becomes a little more solid momentarily. You have fake coin that you brought here.
Oh, one more thing I can say here is we took them from from humans who were seeking to use them for petty politics. We thought perhaps there would be a deeper and more appropriate use for them. So we're here.
Yep. And then like it starts to like solidify a little bit more. And then, what questions do you have?
To be truthful, we don't even know enough yet to know what questions to ask. But to start off with, we're curious as to why the Fae left our world. Why were these coins left behind? What were they used for?
The coins were our mistake. We put some of our magic, some of our power inside of them, locked them away. And then the world started to change as humanity became ascendant. There are times when all beings should move on. And it was a time of the Fae to leave the world.
But previously it sounded like you were forced out, not you that you didn't leave, that you were almost thrown out of the world.
Does death to you feel like a invitation or something that is forced upon you?
Depends on the situation.
We could no longer survive. We need magic to live. We had tied up some of ours into foolish promises made to people. None realized how much that would take over the years.
Would possession of these tokens help you with what you're trying to do here?
We had enough. Much of this land, much of this realm is dead and dying.
How much is enough?
We need to this entire area needs to be reborn. Less than that will give us some time, but eventually.
Are we talking a few, like a handful, dozens, hundreds? We don't even know how many exist.
I'm gonna state the rhyme, and see if I get corrected. The rhyme as I know it. At least up to 4 for birth.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll make 4 for birth a question mark and see if anybody here corrects me as to what the correct rhyme is.
Yeah. She turns and she goes, and for us, most of what's there, most of the rhyme, most of the powers above that are what humans want, but not as important for Fae. But for us, those are our life's blood.
And
So
if birth were affected here, what would become of you? What would become of humans?
Because we are no longer of that world. This is the one that we were forced into. We could make this place more livable. For quite some time, we had enough here that we were able to survive and keep ourselves in light and grass and trees. But as you see, our land is dying.
I'll give a look to my companions because I feel like I'm more a custodian of my coin, not an owner of it. But I'm willing to part with it if it will help them.
Yeah, I think Twyla kind of signals that she would be willing to turn over hers.
Same. Like I feel like so Dominik consents and is willing to sort of let you drive on this because it feels like actually doing that transfer seems like it would involve some diplomacy or finesse, especially if it turns into a bargain.
Which one of us were you saying that about?
Samantha?
Okay.
Like so Dominik makes it clear that he's willing to give up the coins, but he's also
You
letting
gotta
Samantha take the lead in how that happens.
like you got to trust the guy in the room. Okay. Um, and I'll pull out the coin I have and say we have brought 4 with us. If they truly belong to you and would help, then they're not really. We don't feel that they are ours to keep or even bargain with.
If you were to give us 4, you would also enjoy. You'd also enjoy the bounty of this land. Before you returned home, you would leave better for it.
Then I'll hold it out to. Is my buddy still right next to me? My towering lumbering buddy.
Now they've all stepped back from the Jenny a little bit, respectfully.
Okay. Um, and I'll hold it out. I'm not sure. Is the Jenny like corporeal yet? You said she was kind of, or it was kind of.
But as you hold it out, you feel like a slight pull on the Feycoin, almost like someone's trying to taking it out of your hand.
Oh yeah, I'm just holding it in my palm, so
Yeah,
no resistance.
I'll add my 2 to the I'll add my 2 to your palm.
Twyla does the same with her one.
the Jenny like puts forward a hand. They float up and they actually kind of uh, turn around the hand, and then it lowers it towards the ground, and they actually sink down into the earth itself. And there's just this moment of silence before. Here's the thing: it's dark. You have been in darkness. It's dark here. You have not been in the sunlight for a couple hours. When suddenly, the sunlight just happens all of a sudden, and just like green bursts through the earth, and you see like vines start making their way up some of the trees. You see the sort of blackened and dead uh, trunks start to fade color-wise back into sort of living trees, and then blooms start to happen kind of all around him. And there's a stream. There was a stream that was a small trickle that picks up and becomes larger.
Was this place always like it was when we arrived, or was it like this in the beginning?
This place was at first like this.
And what caused the decay?
What happens if you farm on the same land for too long?
I see.
So it will return to that state again.
You have brought a portion of our power back. That may be enough, at least for a time.
Now we have a direction for this campaign. We're just going to collect all the Feycoin in the world and smuggle them into the Fey world.
In sets of 4.
Yeah, in sets of 4.
Yeah.
Next up, mugging some witches.
And then kind of goes to the stream and like dips her hand in, which becomes kind of corporeal. Almost forms into like a large bowl, and then brings it forward to you. You have brought us life, and in return, we would give you some as well.
This is a Jenny, not a Fey, so I will drink from the bowl.
I will too.
I guess.
And technically, this was this is not a bargain. This was a gift freely given, and so what you're getting here is also a gift freely given. As you drink from it, it's essentially the what do they call it when it's like the perfect version of itself? Not Socratic ideal, Platonic ideal. Yeah, like the Platonic ideal of water. It is the most refreshing. Like you feel it throughout your entire body as it sort of sinks through. And there's a moment where your mind and such is even opened up to the things that you hear, people and things, and you find yourself kind of quickly going into like a deep sleep. And when you come out of it, you have woken up back in the kind of back in that temple. At this point, there's nobody there. So back sort of in front of the gate. One of the first things you notice is you look at each other. All of you have become physically a little more perfect. Like you're very much you. You're just have a bit of a more perfect expression of yourself. And if you each want to take 3 XP,
Let's go outside and see how many years have passed.
yeah,
So I'm marking my XP as like, you mean like 3 checkboxes?
yeah, it's essentially it'd be like 3,000 that
3,000.
you can pull out. And also, each of you have a very sturdy. There's like a leaf that is in the sort of the palm of your hand, and it's one that is it's sturdy, like it'll roll and such, but it actually appears like it's not something that can like rip or tear particularly easily, and it's got like a little bit of almost an otherworldly color to it. And each one of you have one in your hand, and they're very slightly different, but they something that would appear to be from basically the same type of plant or whatever it is.
You know what, guys? These are even more rare than Feycoins, I bet.
Well, from magically, what people wear is these are sort of gifts of the Fae, and at time they might be able to come in handy.
And they're certainly not as deeply volatile as Feycoin in terms of people knifing us for them.
Or you have a leaf.
How long have? Yeah, I guess we don't know what time it is outside. How this temple was crawling with people earlier.
Yeah, when you end up leaving, the sun is just kind of barely coming up, and after a little bit of walking, you pass the first few who had brought themselves some blankets to stay in, and you kind of look around the clearing, and there are others, some of which appear to have gone to bed on their own. Or bed is incorrect for drunk themselves into a stupor. There are others who found company.
Are these the same people though?
Yes.
Like not their great grandchildren?
No, yeah, you you definitely recognize the same person that you like, the same ones that you talked to yesterday.
What the fuck did we just do?
I don't know. I was kind of wine drunk. We helped and I'm using the language just in case we're overheard right now, but we helped the Gathering of the Green make their area better.
Though I wonder how much of the gathering truly appreciated that. I wonder how many toes we stepped on.
I mean, they all live in that area. They all live in that place. I would hope that they would all like to see it
I don't know.
green
Some
like
some
that
of the,
again.
some of those boys in green seemed awfully zealous about the change they wanted to see in this world.
Oh, I'm talking about the people in the actual other place, not the wannabes in the temple. I don't
Yeah.
consider the wannabes in the temple to be what I was including when I said gathering of the green.
And
Oh,
about that time,
out of
Horse.
character, Michael. Oh, sorry.
Oh, what was your question?
Was it Wraith? Raith? The human who was in the other side?
Yeah, that was. Let me pull his name up. Resh. Sorry,
Race.
Resh.
Resh. Okay. Resh said that he was of the Gathering of the Green, right?
At
Yeah.
which point you see Resh approaching with a horse and cart.
Yeah. Speaking of which,
And it's funny because as you look, the cart itself looks to be sort of well padded. Like it's got there's blankets and stuff that have been thrown down in the back of it. As he sort of comes up and sees the three of you and sort of smiles, gets down and goes, "All right, sacrifice is over. Make it easier to get your way back home."
So is this the same guy that we just saw
Yep.
in the upside down? Okay.
Yep. And
And is there like recognition on his face?
oh yeah, he sort of smiles, but he yells, "This has the smack of a tradition." As he gives a little bit of his speech, he's like, "Some of you have made very good friends. Some of you have found a spouse. Now is the time to go back and explain this to your parents, or to keep it a secret for the rest of time."
But when he was talking to Abella and she was saying, "Can we bring you back?" He kind of made it sound like he was trapped there. That
He
like
did say
he couldn't
he
come
did say
back.
at one point it wasn't all through him.
Oh,
like
I
he
see.
was
I
he
see.
was channeling the Jenny
was-
or
he
channeling
was-
No,
the Green or something.
technically, what he was doing is he was talking through a Fey. That if you'd gotten in the right spot, you'd have gotten an eavesdrop
Okay.
for the things. Yeah, he was
Okay.
talking. He was basically talking through a Fey. Some of it was his, some of it was the Fey's.
Okay.
He walks over and he's like, "I've never in my life, and I've been going there for 20 years on this day when it's possible to get there. I have never seen it look the way it did when I left it last time."
How long will that boost help them?
They seem to think that for quite some time, and it will not be surprising to know that after the three of you entered into the trance, after you drank from it, they didn't necessarily want the other humans that were there to hang around much. They had a lot to talk about and a lot to gather others for. They had a celebration of their own. And he kind of looks back into the kids as they're all making their way to the cart. He goes, "Some celebrations are not for all people."
They haven't even yet begun the Bacchus rites.
Those coin have been nothing but trouble, and I am happy that they've found a good use. If
we had more to bring, would we have to wait a year to turn them over?
There's a point where he's just like, "To be honest, I have no idea. The way it has been for generations, the only time you could actually travel through and talk to them was uh, during the Eye of Summer. But it's always been a dead, gloomy place."
so, you and your friends make the journey every year.
A few of us are able to go through. Most are hoping at some point to be able to go. They see us pass through the gate. And at this point, you kind of notice like, on the back of his hand, all sort of like these, just a lot of like kind of crisscross ancient scars from where he would have cut his hand onto the roots. Because trust takes time.
Wait, was he the one that was in the Southwest?
No, the person in the Southwest was
Okay.
doing the thing that he had done for
I
many,
got
many
you.
years.
Okay. I got you. He was the next one trying. Okay.
Yeah. But like, the ones on the back of his hand, like, it's all faded and like there's none of them are new on the back of his, but it's just like from years and years and years, some of them leave scars.
So, but you never went through the moss. You always went through the gate.
The moss is essentially how you're able to commune through one of the fade. Now they tend to work best if they use one of us to commune through, simply because it makes it easier to anchor it. But yeah, that has never been a portal. It's just the gate was what we took. Ride back to town?
Please.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, we'll get some breakfast for you. He goes, just kind of looks back, because Lord knows most of them are going to want the. And there's one point he does kind of, as you can kind of get on the seat next to him, as he goes, and he kind of like gets the horses to get to a point where and you just hear it go, oh. At least one person throw up over the side. He just smiles and he goes, you had a fun weekend too. All right, and we could fade to black there.
Yeah, that was cool. So how much of that is like sourced from the game, and how much of that did you just pull out of your ass?
They just mentioned in the game that Faye existed.
Okay.
Were you expecting that to go? Were you expecting that to go as direct as it went?
I was thinking you're going to be doing more sneaking and hearing stuff, and then possibly talking to the Jenny. I thought that like you probably get to Jenny and probably talk to Jenny, but I figured you'd be sneaking through and stealing stuff. Yeah, you're like, nope, we're to talk. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't think.
Then our goal is to get to the Jenny before we get eviscerated.
Yeah, I wouldn't have stolen anything from that area. That just seems like not a good idea, and also extremely, I don't know, disrespectful if a thief cares about that.
Well, and I think we would have probably regretted it because, that was not a gift. I think that there would have been consequences.
Oh, that's compensation for the things you've already taken.
And there's sort of part of the thief game too. That was also like you go places. It doesn't matter where you're at. You steal shit. And sometimes you're in these places with creatures and other stuff, and it's like, oh, I'm still going to take your shit.
So I think before we leave town, Dominik tries to get enough contact information for Resh such that if he's in the area later and can sort of check in with these people, they might be a source of information.
Okay.
Or quest hooks.
I'm still on MySpace.
Yeah.
Make a note of him. Cool. Got Resh in there. Do you have like specific types of things you want to look into, like some either stuff that kind of came up here, some other stuff from before that like next time you're like, these are what we want to focus in on?
It's gonna be hard just going back to just like stealing statuettes and shit after something like that.
I mean, I'm guessing the Fae's going to be probably a slow boil. They're probably busy celebrating right now, but I'm guessing there might be more stirrings on that in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for all we know, their orgies last decades. I mean,
yeah, maybe our descendants will have something to do.
So they're like Sting, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
It sounded like Art Heist was getting some traction last time, or before the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we might have to do some stuff to make some money to fund the other stuff, but I kind of see us steering back into, like, I'm still interested in getting, because we didn't really get all that many answers as far as like the history and like specifically why and when, and so I'm still interested in as a long-term thing, still collecting that information, but it's going to take some money to fund that.
Maybe art, because I think Paul and Laura were both interested in art heist.
I think that would be a good place for me to rake in some dough.
Yeah, I'm interested in putting our golden girl in a place where she can get us some cash. It not art specifically, but if that's what it is, then that's what it is.
Sounds good. We can get you a little more city stuff. Got a few more. We can also kind of check in with the Thieves Guild.
Yeah, and then like I'll go to my one sister and be like, dude, the Fae are so real. Like we partied with them, we drank magic water. They gave me this leaf.
You know you sound crazy, right? I'm telling you.
No, and then I'll borrow one of the two remaining Feycoin and be like, we had 4 of these and we gave them to them, and they went in the ground and it turned green and magical.
Yeah, when my students try to tell me that Chris Angel's magic was real, I was like, no, it's not. No, it is. He actually walks on water. It's like, no, he's not.
I ran a Mutants and Mastermind game that was it was like a custom setting, but this one guy played a character that had real magic, but he played it up like his character was basically like a gothy Chris Angel. So
Wait, gothy Chris Angel?
Yeah, like
That's just Chris Angel.
No. I mean, like a goth. But the thing is, the character wasn't like that. It was all that was his stage persona. So he had this like he was like this wealthy dude. So he had like the Discovery Channel show, and he did the traveling around, and he'd sit with the Buddhists while they like sat out in the snow, and the people that can levitate and shit like that. Looking on the surface it was like this looking for real magic, but anytime he found something real, he'd like scrub that off the show and show the hokey fake shit. But the character's motivation